body image and dancing. And it's, I tell a story of my sister, born in 1956, and my parents sent her to ballet lessons like all good middle-class black girls go. And she remembers getting hit in the butt with a ruler. Tuck your butt. And she's like, I can't tuck my butt. That's my butt.
It is tough.
That's just my butt. And so I want to talk to you about the evolution of bodies in dance and your thoughts on where we were and where we're going and what we need to do to make it more.
Well, I don't know if I can be prescriptive, because we're in a very exciting time right now, because yes, there's been definitely a retrenchment and a swing to more conservative terrain, but there's also, I don't need to tell you what even the language around gender right now.
Right.
Everything is up in the air now, and the young are running with it. So if you can, yeah. So you have to realize that I come from a time where, first of all, a man to be dancing is already suspect. Black men were able to do it,
right?
But black men were, with that was labeled super stud and less intelligence. But you were, just like you were beautiful in sports, you were beautiful moving.
Right.
But so it cut when you tried to particularly introduce yourself into, quote, a serious art world. You smell the bias here, as opposed to a popular, unserious world. That's the language. When I started, I was working with Arnie Zane. Well, I was working in a kind of a post-hippie era collective, and it was a wild group. But Arnie Zane and I distinguished ourselves because we began to work together using something called contact improvisation. The dancers in the room probably know it. It redefined the whole idea of who can lift whom, because no more was it ballet paradigm, but it was jujitsu, it was karate. A woman, the first time I was lifted by a 98-pound former ballerina. Wow. Because she gets her legs underneath her strength is in her core, and she lifts me. And so that was a big thing. Who, small and big, no longer mattered so much. Arnie and I began to work together, and we quickly drew attention to ourselves, because first of all, he was Jewish Italian, and I'm black. The world had never really seen this. It was obvious that he and I had a deep emotional connection, which was another thing. So that already, oh my God, this is allowed? This is allowed, and what are these guys doing? So he and I began to organize a lot of people around this idea of what we can do with disparate body types and the politics of bodies. Now that was a very important, I don't know if there had been ever putting the idea of politics and bodies together. The women's movement was talking about it, but now we can actually see it on stage. That little white guy is lifting the big black guy. What is this? What does this mean? And with that came a company wherein I had Larry Goldhuber, who was 300 pounds, an actor, but an actor who moved like Jackie Gleason really, really well, and audiences loved him. Later, a woman, Alexander Beller, who is now a very successful choreographer, who was a big woman. Talk about the butt doll, but she had ballet training. The critics were relentless with her. They felt they could say anything about her. Her body was vile to them, because why do we have to look at you? She was a beautiful mover. Picasso's bathers from that surrealist pic, these naked women like that. That's what I thought of her as. So all of this came in my company. Now you can go and see people like a Jen Rosenblit, very important young choreographer who is a really big woman, complete with stretch marks and all of that, and who will do nudity. It's not about the body as some seduction, but it's about a kind of, I don't think she means a statement, but she's saying, I'm free at last. I do not have to apologize for the way I look. So this is politics. This is politics and the change of body image. I think right now, what is prescriptive? I hope you young folks tell us how we can take the next step. I am extremely, as a gay person, I find that around the transgender question, I am very binary, even as a gay man. There were men and women, right? Now I have to change my language. I have to change my way of thinking. Power, who is allowed on stage? You know that there are mixed ability companies, people who have no legs, people who have all these things. Can you stand to look at them without feeling that they're rubbing your face in something? Can you accept them as beautiful? Now, this is the question that the young, I think, and people with differently abled bodies are challenging us with.